Hari Om. Let's start with 3 Oms and Sahanavatu and Guru Stotra. Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Stotram. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Jangamam Yaptam Yatkinchis Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Yapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Namadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing now the 5th chapter of the Panchadasi. It is the last of the Panchakam of the Viveka Panchakam, the 5 chapters of the Viveka. And in this, Vidyaranya talks about Mahavakya Viveka, where we have to use the Mahavakyas, the great statements of the Vedanta, to use and discriminate what is that I am and what is this world and Brahman. So, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. That Vedantic doctrination of Advaita Vedanta is packed in the Mahavakyas, and these are called the Abheda Vakyas. Abheda Vakya means there is no difference between the Jiva and Ishvara from the point of the Absolute. Only differences are on the superficial, the equipments are different. One is localized, another is global, and those are only at the Vyavaharka, the transactional level. From the absolute point, there is no difference, and that is being pointed out here. And these Mahavakyas are the statements are to be used as a Pramana Vakyas, as a means of knowledge to recognize who am I and what is this world and who is the Ishvara. And in the process, come up with I am the total Brahman that supports all the divisions, which are essentially apparent divisions, because in the totality there cannot be any divisions of any kind. And now we have analyzed in the first 2 slokas the Prajnanam Brahma, the consciousness is Brahman, that is from the Aitiriya Upanishad, from the Rig Veda. Now Vidyaranya is going to take the second Mahavakya. It says Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi comes in from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and it is Sukla Yajurveda, and that is being analyzed. And the way he analyzes is, he takes each word of the Mahavakya, first analysis of the word and then Vakyartha using Lakshyartha, where Bhagatyagam, where you have to give up that which is not pertinent. So the contradictory qualifications are rejected because they are only superficial superimpositions due to the reflecting media, and the essence is equated, and that what counts is, and that's what is being analyzed here. So let's chant the sloka 3. Paripurna paratmasmin, paripurna paratasmin, dehe vidyadhikarini, dehe vidyadhikarini, buddhe sakshitaya stitva, buddhe sakshitaya stitva, spuran nahamitiryate, spuran nahamitiryate. Together, paripurna paratmasmin, dehi vidyadhikarini, buddhe sakshitaya stitva, spuran nahamitiryate. So in this, what's aham is being analyzed. So it is aham, it says I am. So when everybody says, who are you? You start with I am, and then you identify I am this. And this is obviously different from that. That means I am only this and not that. And that is essentially ahankara. Ahankara is the ego. Ego involves I am this, I am this, I am this. So, however big that this is, still it is limited because that is not included in this. And that I am this is not the real aham. The real aham is existent conscious entity, and any this is inert entity. Therefore, I have to first find out who is that I am. So inquiring of who am I is only talks about aham part only. So aham Brahma asmi, the Brahma asmi has to come from a different statement. Now aham part is being analyzed here. So aham itself is, we should really look at it correctly, logically also, is paripurnam, is paripurnaha. It's completely full. So when I say I am this is already limited. So it's desha, kala, vastu, parichinnatvam. Desham, I am limited by spatially limited, time-wise limited, and object-wise limited. Object-wise means I am this and not that, because any this is an object. And therefore, whenever I say, that is the biography of everybody that we know. Whole world is, people say I am, and then identify with this with the local equipments, and therefore that is not paripurnam, that is apurnam, that is limited. Whereas here it starts with aham itself is paripurnam. It is param atmasmin, that is supreme, because there is nothing beyond I am. Because I am there in the waking state, I am there in the dream state, I am there deep sleep state. The whole world is dismissed when I go to dream state, because this waking world is dismissed by a dream world, and dream world is dismissed by the deep sleep world, and deep sleep world is displaced again by when I come to waking. So I am neither a waking state nor a dream state or deep sleep, because states are keep changing. But I am the same person. Identify I am a waker, I am a dreamer, I am a deep sleeper. So therefore I am neither a waker nor a dreamer nor a deep sleeper. I am something beyond these three, and that which is without any limitations of the waking state and a dream state and a deep sleep state. And therefore I am paripurnam. Therefore I am full and complete. So that means there is nothing beyond. So all my problems are apurnatvam, because I feel I am limited and I don't like it, because intrinsically I am I am complete, and now when I think that I am only limited, I want to become Purnam, that is, I want to become complete, and by gathering this, that I don't have it, therefore the whole rat race that we are talking about is trying to become a Purnam only, but in a wrong way. I cannot become infinite by adding finite things, and that is illogical. Therefore, scripture is trying to point out, you are trying to solve a problem where you cannot solve the problem the way we are going around, because we want to become Purnam, we want to become full by acquiring things, but you can never, because even though I may not have any, if I don't have anything, I want millions, if I have millions, I want billions, if I have billions, I want trillions. This never ending process, because there is nothing, I need to have infinite for me to full, and I cannot gain infinite by any finite process. And whereas the scripture point out that you are already paripurnam. So here is a problem of human life itself is, I cannot solve the problem, but I cannot stop trying to solve the problem. I cannot become infinite, but I cannot stop trying to become infinite by adding finite things. So whole life struggle of every human being is trying to do this, and whereas the scripture point out where you are trying to solve a problem where there is no really a problem, because you are already paripurnam, you are already full. So purnamada Purnamidam. So Adaha Purnam, that which means Aham Purnam, is already Purnam, and that is Paripurna, and Paratma Asmin. So Paratma is Paramatma. So it is complete, full, and it is Param, supreme Atma. There is nothing beyond that. And that's what essentially is the being pointed out as Aham, I am. So there is nothing beyond means I am rejecting the waking state, therefore the creator of the waking state is also dismissed in the process, and I am creating a dream world, and when I go from the dream world to the world, and therefore its creator is also dismissed, and I am in the deep sleep state where I am. When I go beyond the deep sleep state, in terms of waking again, I dismiss the deep sleep world also. The ignorance also I dismiss. Therefore, I am beyond any state. Therefore, I am full, because limitations of the state belongs to the states and not to me. And that is therefore, it is Paratma. Paratma is that which is supreme, that I cannot negate. I can negate everything. I can dismiss the waking world, dream world. Along with the waking world, the creator of the waking also is dismissed, and the dream world and the creator of the dream world also dismissed. And a deep sleep state, and I can dismiss even that ignorance also. But I cannot dismiss myself, because I have to be there to dismiss myself. Therefore, it is Paratma, it is Supreme Atma, Supreme Self, Asmin, in this Mahavakya. It says Aham Brahmasmi. So Asmin Mahavakya, in this Mahavakya, Aham stands for that I am. So first, who am I? So when I say I am this, I am the total, Aham Brahmasmi, I am the, what is that I am that I am trying to equate? I am not equating the local ego I am, this body, mind, intellect, which I think I am limited. So how can you be that? So I cannot be this body with the body. I am not equating. What I am equating is only the essence, that substratum, that consciousness that I am, which is Paripurnam, which is full by itself, and that as though operating as a reflection medium in the body. So Dehe, in the body means in the subtle body here, Vidyadhikarani. Vidya means Adhikarini. It is that which is essentially fit. Adhikar means that fit for gaining the knowledge. So who has the ignorance? Not the Paramatma. Paramatma doesn't have ignorance. It is the Jivatma who identifies with the mind that I am the mind, that Chidabhasa, identifying that I am a self-conscious entity, self-existent entity, ignoring that I am only a reflected consciousness, takes itself as the original consciousness, and that notion is only in the mind, because the mind doesn't know the fact that what is reflecting is the total consciousness itself, and that is capable of Vidya Adhikarani, capable of gaining this knowledge, provided it pursues, it understands there is something beyond the mind, that because of which the mind is functioning. That knowledge is required in order to inquire. So, Vidya Adhikarani means it is Adhikari, it is fit to learn, provided the mind is tuned to learn, provided it is prepared mind. Unprepared mind is not Adhikarini. So there is a prerequisite for the mind, for Adhikaritvam, for gaining this knowledge. There are prerequisites, a requirement which when you fulfill, then it is fit to know what is the truth. Like any other subject, any other knowledge, there are prerequisites in order to gain the knowledge. In the same way, there are prerequisites. What are the prerequisites? Mind going out has to be brought in back, trying to inquire within what exactly is the mind, how the mind is functioning, how the mind is knowing, and for that the mind has to be subtle enough to inquire. Therefore, it can become a Vidyadhikarani provided it's prepared mind. Buddhehe sakshitaya astitva spuran aham itiryate. So what should it be in the buddhi? What is the inquiry? I had to inquire, who am I? Who is doing the inquiry? It's the mind only inquiring. It's not the absence of the mind. People say you have to go beyond the mind. How do you go beyond the mind? And so mind is conditioned. So you uncondition the mind. Who is going to uncondition the mind? It's the mind only. A conditioned mind has to uncondition the mind. How? And that's where the problems are in understanding. I have to use the proper means to understand. So when the mind is having a wrong notions can only be removed by the right understanding. So unconditioning is only due to wrong notions, due to our past. That has to be removed by proper understanding. So when I don't know, then I have to know, so that the knowledge removes the ignorance because of which wrong understanding is there. The same way, buddhehe, in the intellect, it is shining through sakshitaya astitva. That consciousness that I am paripurna atma is getting reflected through that, as though it is sakshitaya, it is the pure witnessing consciousness. Witnessing consciousness is the one because of which I can witness. Witness means I have the knowledge of. What is that a witness? I can see the mind operating and how the knowledge is taking place in the mind, by the mind, through the mind of the whole objective world. And Sakshi is only that which is witnessing. It witnessing the operations of the mind. Itself does not get involved in anything, yet in its presence the whole world are operating. The mind is operating and so buddhi is operating. So here, how is self-knowledge is gained? I have to use the buddhi, intellect. That's called viveka. That's why the chapter is called viveka. I had to use the buddhi to find out who that I am is, and recognize that every understanding, every knowledge is taking place because of the consciousness that is getting reflected by the buddhi and through the vritti and so on. That discrimination, it's not the object, it is because of which object is known. That is the consciousness, and that knowledge is gained through presence of the Sakshi. So Sakshitaya, as the witnessing consciousness, Chitva, it is staying as though, that means all pervading consciousness is staying and getting reflected by the buddhi, and depending upon the cleanliness of the buddhi, the reflection occurs, and the brightness of the reflecting occurs because of the medium. And the medium is pure, the whole reflection of the light comes through. Therefore, the impurities are agitations in the mind, and the mind has to become calm and quiet for any knowledge to take place. And that calm and quiet mind is buddhi only can reflect through. And in the reflection, I have to shift my I am having the knowledge of. And that process has to occur in the buddhi. And spuran is manifesting aham iti iyate. It is manifesting as I am. Who says? The saying may be, I need equipment, buddhi, in order to say it, because without the instruments I cannot operate, I cannot transact. But the knowledge is, I am, because of which even the buddhi is operating. I am able to say I am because of that I am Sakshi. So shifting my attention to the witnessing consciousness while the body, mind, intellect are functioning is the real knowledge and real jnanam, and that is what a Jivan Mukta is also. So here aham aspect is being emphasized, is nothing but Sakshi, that which is witnessing consciousness in a very living being, that because of which one is conscious of. So not only I am conscious of the world, I am self-conscious because I am conscious of myself, and therefore I have an opinion about myself because I am conscious of myself. But if I don't have correct knowledge, I take myself, I am with the wrong notions, I am a limited being. So education or the Vedanta is trying to find out what you think is not what you are, what you are is this, what the being pointed out through Mahavakyas, you are that Brahman. So in this sloka, Vidyaranya analyzes what exactly aham means, and in the next sloka he is going to analyze Brahmasmi together. Okay, sloka 4. Swatah purna paratmatra, swatah purna paratmatra, brahma shabdena varnitaha, brahma shabdena varnitaha, asmityaikyā paramarshaha, asmityaikyā paramarshaha, tena brahma bhavamyaham, tena brahma bhavamyaham. Together, Swatah Purna Paratmatra, Brahma Sabdena Varnitaha, Asmityaikyā Paratmarshaha, Tena Brahma Bhavamyaham, Tena Brahma Bhavamyaham. So, Swatah Purnaha. So, now we are looking at the Brahma Asmi. What is Brahma? And then Asmi is going to be analyzed in the first two lines is about the Brahma. It is Swataha Purnaha. It is full by itself. That is, Brahman means infinite. So infinite is full by itself. You don't have to do anything in order to become infinite. Infinite is infinite, so it is limitless. So nothing can be said about limitless other than it is not finite. So it is full means it is not empty, it's not finite essentially. That's a definition of Brahman itself. So Swataha Purnaha, it doesn't have to become infinite, it is infinite by its very nature. So Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma. So in the Lakshana of the direct Lakshana of the Brahman, Upanishad says it is Satyam, existence, Jnanam, it is consciousness, and Anantam, it is limitless, and therefore limitless itself is Ananda Swarupam. So Anantameva Anandam. So Swataha Purnaha, it is by nature, that is its intrinsic nature, is Purnatvam. Paratma. So Paratma is Paramatma, that supreme self is that Atma, which is a conscious entity. Atma is it's a supreme conscious entity, that all-pervading existent consciousness. Atra is in the Mahavakya, in the Sabdam, that is Aham Brahmasmi. In that Atra, in that statement, Brahma stands for Swataha Purnaha Paratma. It is full, complete, and it is supreme. Because it is Brahman, there is nothing cannot be beyond anything Brahman. So if there is something beyond Brahman, then Brahman cannot be Brahman. So it is Paratma. So Brahma Sabdena Varnitaha. It is described by the word as by the word Brahman. Brahma Sabdena. By use of the word Brahma, it is being described. So Brahman itself is Brihad, it is big, bigness. So anything big is, normally big is an adjective. So big is used to qualify how big an object is. So when I say big mosquito, you have some notion that how big the mosquito based on the normal mosquito. So normal mosquito provides you how big the big mosquito is. Whereas when I say big mountain, so the big mountain, the bigness in the big mountain is different from bigness in the mosquito, because now we are using a different norm to define the bigness of the mountain. We have to have a normal mountain as a basis to define how big the big mountain is. So in all that, those big adjectives are qualifying the noun, but they get qualified also by the noun, because how big the big is depends on the noun that is. That is the, what is the normal size. Whereas this Supreme Brahman is so big that is incomparably big, or you cannot compare with anything because there is no other object that can be used to compare it. So therefore the scripture uses the big itself as a noun here, as a Brahman. That means it is big, unconditionally big. That's what is Brahman means, that is infinite. And therefore, Brahma Sabdena Varnitaha, it's described by, it is infinite. Infinite is not a description of infinite, because all it says is it's not finite. So we negate anything finite is not that, because anything finite is limited. Since it's limitless and limitless, so most of the words that are used is essentially a negative definition, because the mind can only perceive certain things, and you have to negate what the mind perceives as not that and not that and not that. Neti neti, and trying to indicate that which cannot be, any words cannot describe it. At the same time, we need to have some idea for Upadesha, for teaching, and therefore it is Brahma Sabdena, for Shabdam, for Shruti, for teaching. To communicate this knowledge, Brahman Sabdam is Varnitaha. It is described which is indescribable. Thus, he has defined what is Brahman means. Asmi Chaikya Paramarshaha. So, Asmi iti Aikya Paramarshaha. So, what is Asmi in this Atra? Atra means in this Mahavakya, he has defined Aham. Aham is the individual I am, and Brahman, the total consciousness, and in the individual as the Sakshi consciousness, and in the total as the pure absolute consciousness, and that is being defined. And now Asmi iti, that by the word Asmi iti means by the word Asmi in the Aham Brahmasmi, Aikyam Paramarshaha. What is established? Paramarsha means it's being established or being indicated as Aikyam, the identity of Sakshi, witnessing consciousness, that I am the witnessing consciousness. When I say I am conscious of this, because I am able to witness, only conscious entity can witness, and that witnessing consciousness is nothing but Brahman, is the total consciousness. And what is that? When I say I am this, means I am already identifying with the local equipment, starting with the mind, body, and so on. That is not Aham. What is Aham is pure conscious existent, and that is Brahman. So therefore this realization has to come as using a Viveka. And Tena Brahma Bhavam, Tena Brahma Bhavami, Aham Brahma Bhavami, Tena, therefore Aham Brahma Bhavami, Tena Brahma Bhavamyaham. So Aham Brahma Bhavami. So Aham Brahma Bhavami means I am Brahman is understood by this Aikya, because the scripture is pointing out you are not what you think. So who am I? Inquiry is not inquiring about this, just witnessing, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. When you say I am not this, I am getting limited, because this that I am rejecting is not I am. But whereas Brahman cannot reject anything because it includes everything, so even this that I have rejected is also a part of Brahman, but it's only superimposition as a pure existence that we discuss in the next Maha Mantra. But here it says, from the point of consciousness, the Sakshi, when I say I am consciousness, that consciousness that I am is the infinite consciousness, Brahman, and that has to be understood through Viveka, through analysis, inquiring into that. And that is the Mahavakya of this statement that he has analyzed. So with this, he has analyzed first is Prajnanam Brahma, then Aham Brahmasmi from the Aitreya Upanishad and Rigveda, and second one is from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad from the Yajurveda. Now we are going to take a Samaveda and the Tattvamasi statement from the Chandogya Upanishad, the Sadvidya, that is from the 6th chapter of the Chandogya. And this statement, Tattvamasi, almost comes from the 9 times it is being repeated by the teacher Uddalaka to his son Swetaketu, who wants to know. So therefore it is a father teaching the student son disciple Swetaketu says Tattvamasi, and that comes when the student comes thinking that after studying the 20 years in the Vedanta and thinking that he knows everything, and to put him in a proper place, the Uddalaka asks his son, have you learned knowing which you know everything? So have you learned that knowledge knowing which you know everything? Says that's not possible. How can you say, if I know chemistry, I won't know physics? I wish I could, but I had to learn physics separately, chemistry, the geology separately, every subject I had to learn separately. So knowing one thing, I cannot know everything. So Swetaketu says, it's not possible. But the Uddalaka says, it is possible under certain circumstances. So how is possible? It gives you 3 examples, and their examples are taken to show that if I know the material cause, then I know all the products of that material in essence. So if I know gold, then I have the knowledge of all the gold ornaments, or I have essential knowledge of all the gold ornaments. I may not know the details of each ornament, their properties or their individual attributes of the ring, how big the size of the ring, how big, but I know it is gold, therefore I have value for that, because the value depends upon not its ID, OD and all that, value depends on how much gold it is. That's what the goldsmith values. Says, oh, this is my wedding ring, you should give me more money. Says nothing doing. All those are a superimposed value system. But what is the essence that counts is that substratum from which the ornaments came, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back. So that's how the material cause is defined. Material cause is upadana karanam. And therefore, so Yatha Saumya Ekena Lohamanina Sarvam Lohamayam Vijnata Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadeyam Lohamicheva Satyam. Says that is all the ornaments are nothing but only apparent modifications of the gold, because the gold is as though transforming into ornament. This transformation is not real transformation, it's only an apparent transformation. It's a transformationless transformation. So ring, gold is becoming ring, but yet gold remains as gold only. Ring is appearing. So ring is only a superimposition on gold as a substratum. It's only a name and a form superimposed on the substratum, which is nothing but the gold. And this is example Uddalaka gives to his son. Therefore, if I know gold, then I know all ornaments that are created before and created now and that will be created in future. There may be millions of those ornaments, but they are essentially nothing but gold. The details of each ornament may be different. The utility of each ornament is different. The purpose it which is created different. The date of birth and date of death is different, but they are nothing but gold only. So essential knowledge that what counts, the value of that is depends on that, and that is what is known, and that is what is called the knowledge of its essence. And therefore, if I know that this whole world came from that, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back. So going back and sustenance means it is a material cause. So if the rings and the bangle and the necklace, they came from, but they are sustained by the gold. So in the case of creation of a gold bangle and necklace, the intelligent cause, the goldsmith, is different from the material cause, the gold. And goldsmith creates and he goes away, but what is left behind is the material cause from which it is there, and it is sustained and into which it goes back into gold only if I melt a ring. And Brahman is defined both using the intelligent cause, the nimitta karanam, and also upadana karanam, the material cause. And in this case, there cannot be two different. One material cause is separate from intelligent, like a goldsmith is different from a gold. It has to be one and the same cause. So he himself became many. So therefore, he himself is becoming many. Becoming many means is the material cause. Gold became a ring. Therefore, Brahman itself became this universe. And that's how the scripture defines in this Chandogya Upanishad. And from there, what was there before? It says, Sadeva Saumya Idamagramasit Ekameva Advitiyam. Existence alone was there before, and that existence itself is becoming into all this. Because it itself says, Tadaikshada Bahusyam Pradaeti. It wanted to see, and it wanted to become many, and it itself became many. That means it's a material cause. And that aspect is being taught. Therefore, the Brahman that he says, not only in the previous slokas, it is about the consciousness that is living in all that. Even this so-called inert thing that you are seeing is only vacharambanam. Vacharambanam means only namke vaste, in and through. What is there is pure existence is getting reflected as the existence in this form, in that form. So existent is nothing but a Brahman, because what was there before is Brahman as existent conscious entity. So here is going to talk about Tattvamasi. So what is that Tat aspect of it is being analyzed in the first sloka, sloka 5. Ekam dvitiyam sat, ekam dvitiyam sat, nama rupa vivarjitam, nama rupa vivarjitam, srishti puradhunapyasya, srishti puradhunapyasya, tradukyam taditiryate, traduktvam taditiryate. Together, ekameva dvitiyam sat, nama rupa vivarjitam, srishti puradhunapyasya, tadruktvam taditiryate. So Srishtihe Pura, so Srishtihe Pura means before the creation. So what was there before creation? It says that is what is being defined as Tat Swarupam. So Nama Rupa Vivarjitam. Before creation there is no names and forms, because names and forms are after creation only. So before creation there is no name and a form. So that which is form can be named. Name involves a knowledge, but that which is the form is limited, and that what was there is all forms are only after creation. Before creation there is no name and a form, and that what was there is being is defined as Ekameva Advitiyam Sat. So that is defined as Ekam Eva Advitiyam, and this is statement coming from the Chandogya Upanishad, that Sat Swarupam, that which is pure existence is defined as in the scripture itself, in the Chandogya, he introduces what was there. Sadeva Saumya Idamagramasit. So Idam Agre means before the creation. So therefore, Psushte Pura, before creation what was there? So before creation, what was there is the scriptural teaching, because the creation itself is anadi. Anadi means beginningless. So if there is a beginningless, there cannot be anything before we cannot talk about, because the concept of before is only a concept of time. So here the concept of time itself is part of the creation. So how can you say it is? It's only for the instruction to say, hey, what was there before? If somebody asks, says, what was there before creation is pure existence as though was there. So pure existence, what kind of existence? You cannot say it is Ekam Eva Advitiyam. There are no different kinds for you to say what kind of existence. Existence is existence, and it is one without a second. For me to compare it, what kind of, because when you say what kind of existence, we are already talking about Nama Rupa, because that's how our mind is tuned to that. But we have to understand the existent is not a part or a property of any object. So when you say the glass exists, the glass is not a property of the glass, but although it exists, because without the existence I cannot see the glass. When I say I see the glass, because the glass is there. Therefore existence of any object is due to pure existence that was there and now appearing in this form. So existence itself as though appearing in this form as a glass. That's what has to be understood. So existence is not a part of this glass, because everywhere there is an existence where the glass is, and it's not a property because it is there outside the glass also, the existence of the space, and the existence of the space is not different from existence of the glass, other than the name and form of the space is different from name and a form for the glass. So therefore existence doesn't have any name and a form, but it lends existence to all names and forms. So existence lends existence to all the objects. What was there before is pure existence. So say Sushte Para, it is Ekam Eva Advitiyam, one without a second. So scripture itself provides you, it is one, Ekam, Eva it's alone, it is Advitiyam, it's non-dual. Both, all the three words mean the same, but Shankara defines one. This is Sajati, Vijati, Swagata, Veda, Rahitam. There is no difference of any kind. Sajati means of the same jati type. So in the jati, hey, this is a chair, that is a chair, one is a lazy boy chair, one is this chair, one is a reclining chair, all are chairs, same jati. But in the jati, there are different types of chairs, and this chair is different from that chair. Both are chairs only. From the jati point, they belong to the same category, but in and through the vyakti, individual chairs are different. So that kind of difference is not there. And Vijati, species different, chairs are different from tables are different from carpets, those are different jatis. That kind of difference is also not there in the pure existence. And third kind of is internal Swagata Vedas, internal differences. So within the chair, the legs are different, the seat is different, the support is different. So there are differences within it, and that also is not there in the pure consciousness. And that's what is Ekam Eva Advitiyam. The scripture itself provides, and that is Sat Swarupam, and that is without Nama Rupa Vivarjitam. It is without any names and forms. What was there is that. Sushte Pura, before the creation, what was there? It is the existent, pure existence. In the previous loka, the Brahman is defined as consciousness, and consciousness and existence are not two different things. It is the same existent which is conscious entity. We are talking about existent consciousness, not a non-existent consciousness, and there is no limitations of anything. So within the existence, there is no inert existence and conscious existence. It is ekameva advitiyam, and there is no divisions of any kind. If there is a inert consciousness and the conscious existence, inert existence, then we are differentiating within some internal divisions, and that is not there in the Ekameva Advitiyam. In the same as the Bhagavan Ramanuja interprets this statement of the scripture Chandogya, where he invokes that there are internal differences, because in the total Brahman, which is pure existence, there are Chit and Achit. There is the conscious entities and unconscious entities, and in the Chit there is the Paramatma and Jivatmas. Again further division, and all are internal divisions in the total one Brahman only. That is his analysis. Whereas from the point of Abheda Vakyam, Abheda means non-difference, because Aham Brahmasmi, Ayamatma Brahma and Tattvamasi statement are going to say, in fact, there is no difference of any kind, and therefore the scripture itself pointing out the existence, Tadaicchada, it saw, and it itself became many. Therefore, all the Nama Rupas are nothing but pure existent consciousness. And it says, Tadaicchada, it saw, and unconscious entities cannot see. Therefore, this statement, Aichata, is in fact used by the Brahma Sutra to say that what was there is pure existent consciousness alone, and that itself was Pura, it was there before. So Adhuna api, even Adhuna means now also. Now means now, that is after the creation. So what was there? So what was there before creation? Scripture says, it says, what was there before creation is one without a second, pure existence alone, and now it became many. It became many means that existence itself became into many, and all the 14 worlds are created, and from which the Atma, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, so 5 the subtle elements, and from the Panchikarana gross elements and the 14 worlds, all that are created. And it also says the Upapravesham, that means it enters into the subtle body as though I am the local conscious entities. That means it is getting reflected as Chidabhasa in the mind also. So that's what whole thing has been explained in the Chandogya Upanishad. So Adhuna api, even after the creation, Adhuna here has to be understood as before. Pura is before, what was there is pure existence, and now the same existence is appearing as Nama Rupa. So before that Nama Rupa Vivarjitam, without any, devoid of any Nama Rupa before. Now what is the creation? Creation is nothing but that pure Brahman appearing as different Rupa. Rupa means attributes. Rupa is a form also colors. That means Sabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, all are included in the Rupa, which is attribute of an object. So what is an object? Object is nothing but Brahman in the form of Satsvarupam, appearing as many with the attributes of Nama Rupa. Now we have to understand this. Now it says in the previous loka, all from the point of total, including Chaturmukha Brahma, Indra, Deva, Manushaha, Ashva, Gava, all beings, etc., etc. When you're talking about living beings, where consciousness is being reflected, now we are looking at even the non-beings also, non-living things also. Every object that I see, because whatever I see is an object, and whatever object is inert, and every inert thing in the world is nothing but the multiple plurality of names and forms. In everything is nothing but consciousness, but now expressing as this object which is different from that object. So how do we know this object is different from that object? Only through attributes of this object is different from the attributes of the object. Attributes are nothing but the qualities of the object that makes this object different from that object. So those are only rupa. Rupa means shabda, sparsa, rupa, rasa, gandha. 5 attributes that my senses can gather and say this object differ from that object. Because the object doesn't say I am different, because it's not a conscious entity. I have to say glass is different from a chair, chair is different from a table. A conscious entity has to differentiate one object from the other object through the attributes of the object and not through the essence that I can see, because the existent that became many cannot be seen, is imperceptible. So one has to understand what is that existence. Existence was there before, it is now appearing in different names and forms, and itself lending support for each object for it to exist, and it exists whether the object is there or whether object get destroyed. The existence cannot be destroyed, and it lends support for the existence of the object, and in and through the object I had to see that. And that existence that provides support itself cannot be seen. All I can see is only because seeing is through the senses. Senses can only gather attributes, not even real attributes, only reflected attributes of the object. All that is involved. So I say the world is. How do you know? Because I can see. So if my 5 senses are not working, then I cannot say that there is a world even. Therefore, existence of the world is established by my becoming aware of the existence of the object. When I say chair is, I have to say the chair is, and chair doesn't say I am there. So therefore, we have to understand also the existence of the object is established by the knowledge of the object. Without knowing the object, I cannot say there is a chair in the object. So when the knowledge is not there, the existence of the object cannot be established as a determinate object. So deterministic process involves a knowledge conscious entity has to say the existence of the object, has to establish the existence of the object. Now you can see how the perception and the knowledge takes place. So whenever I say an object, the existence that is there before, the Brahman, expressing itself as in that form existence, and the attributes of that, now when I perceive, forms a vritti in my mind as a thought. So existence of the chair as though becoming existence of the thought in my mind, and now consciousness, the subject I am, joins the existence of the object as this as a thought, together becoming as I am conscious of the existence of object out there. Without that, there is no knowledge of that. And that because of which the whole consciousness is that which is enlivening even the inert object. For me to say inert object is, that is the Sakshi Swarupam, and that's Brahman. So all that has to be understood in the process. So Sushte Pura Adhuna Api. So even Adhuna, even now, even after the creation api, asya tadruktvam taditiriyate. So tadruktvam is that which is the same nature, that is ekameva advitiyam satsvarupam, is pervading in the object, and that is what is indicated by tat. Tat means Tattvamasi is analyzing what is that tat. You are that. When you say you are the world, there is a JK list that says you are the world. That is Mahavakya statement of Mahavakya, but they don't understand it. They say no, all the scriptures are, they negate it. At the same time, they are using the scriptural statement of Mahavakya. You are that means Tattvamasi statement. And what is that? The whole world. So you are the world. How can I be the world? And how do you understand that? And they have no way of knowing it. It's only Vedanta is telling you the consciousness, the pure Brahman existence is expressing in the name of the world, and that's being perceived here as a vritti, as a thought, and the vritti is being illumined by the consciousness, and the consciousness, the subject, and the existence of the object as the thought are joining together for me to be conscious of the existence of the world. And that is Tadrukyam. The same existence is pervading, and Tat Idyatam. This has to be Idyatam, means it is called Tat in the Tattvamasi statement. So in this scripture, in the Chandogya, after Uddalaka teaches and says essentially, Aitad Atma Vidagam Sarvam Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Svetaketo. This is how the scriptural statement comes. So Aitad Atma Vidagam Sarvam. So Aitad Atmam Idam Sarvam. Idam Sarvam is Idam Sarvam. This entire universe, Idam Sarvam, that I am pointing out, this, that means all the objects. So the Aitad Atmyam means the essence of it. Atma means the essence here of every object is nothing but that existence from which they came, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back. And Uddalaka is that essence, the substantive of every object is nothing but you alone. Tattvamasi, you are that existence, and you are the one that is supporting the whole universe also. So here, Tat, when you say that, that means here indicative of the pure existence that was there before creation, and now expressing itself in varieties and names and forms. So forms are all attributes, name involving a knowledge, because naming is knowing, and therefore consciousness is automatically coming into picture in the knowledge of every object that I see. So Tadrukyam Taditiriyate. So that is what is called Tat Padartham. So I'll take the next sloka. Srotur dehendriyatitam, Srotur dehendriyatitam, Vastvatra paderitam, Vastvatra paderitam, Ekata grahyate siti, Ekata grahyate siti, Tadaikyam anubhuyatam, Tadaikyam anubhuyatam. Together, Srotur dehendriyatitam, Vastvatra paderitam, Ekata grahyate siti, Tadaikyam anubhuyatam. So here he analyzed in the previous sloka, sloka 5, what is Tat. Now he is analyzing what is Tvam and what is Asi. So the equation is Tat, that is analyzed. So in this who am I inquiry, we are only analyzing Tvam Padartham, who am I, but this equation involves who am I and what is this world, and that is what is analyzed in terms of what was there before is creation, and what was there was the existence, which is Brahman itself became many. So the whole world is nothing but existent expressed, Brahman expressed as existence in the whole world, and that is nothing but from you, and that has to be equated. So the consciousness, the subject, and the existence of the object has to be united, and is being united by the scriptural statement, you are the world, or you are that, and you are Tattvamasi, that is, you are that. So Srotuhu means the one who is trying to know who am I or what is this world, is the one who is listening to the scriptures. So Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. I want to know what is the truth. What should I do? Oh, you sit and meditate, who are you? That doesn't explain what is this world and how can I be the world. That cannot be explained by trying to find out who am I. I need to know what is this world, and for that only Vedanta is trying to define what exactly before the creation, after the creation, how exactly perception is taking place. All that 9 yards are being explained. Therefore, the one to know that scripture is telling you to go to a teacher and listen to the scripture. So the one who has heard the scriptural statement and went to the teacher and listening to that, so that is one who is Srotuhu, the one who is the seeker, who is now listening to the teaching of the Vedanta through a teacher. So the seeker who is listening to the Vedanta, Deha Indriya Atitam, that who is that seeker? He is beyond Deha Indriya. Deha means the body and Indriya. Indriya means both Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas. The Jnanendriyas is the sense organs, and Karmendriyas, organs of action, so organs of knowledge and organs of is beyond. So that which is Tvam is being indicated. What exactly Tvam? Who are you and what is this world and how is this equation is possible? And Tattvamasi now is being analyzed in terms of what is the Tvam Padartham. He is the one who is a listener, and listener is what? Listener is there. Body cannot listen, even though body is required to listen. I need a body, I need my ears for me to listen, I need my mind to understand what I listen and analyze it. Yet I am not the body, I am not the mind. This has to be understood. This we will take up in the next class because we already time. So we will stop here and reanalyze this Tattvamasi sloka and complete it in the next class. Let's do Purnamada Purnamidam now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Sishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om. You can't say this word.